Hey guys, welcome back to another motherfucking YouTube video. Today, as you can see by the title, I'm going to be speaking on the two of the things that most humans, if not all, will be struggling until the day they die. I mean, until they leave this earthly realm. Let me not be, okay? But before you fully tune in to today's video, go all the way down to my first video so you are aware of what my channel is about. But let's just get straight into it. Okay, before we fully get into even today's video, I actually want to say a comment. I am proud of myself that I actually been consistent. As a person who has struggled with consistency in the past, I am not afraid to admit that, right? I have managed to be consistent in more than one area of my life. I've been praying more, I've been journaling more, I've been showing up at the gym, working out, even the days that I don't feel like doing it. And I've said this before, I actually like going to the gym in the morning to just set the day and actually just empower myself. Like working out just gives you that empowering feeling, right? But the concept of just showing up, you know, like you don't have to be perfect. And life has been teaching about just to move through everything, move through your feelings, no matter how you're feeling, move through how you're feeling in your emotions and just show up. Just show up. That's it. That's all you have to do. 9 times out of 10, y'all, that's all you have to do in life. Just show up. That builds consistency. That builds discipline. You start to trust yourself more. I actually was watching this video and oh my God, I love the way this person, he was actually reading the word, but he was explaining it in a different way. And he was like, God is within all of us. And he was also like, when I believe in myself and I act, I am God in action. And honestly, I can relate to that now because I've actually been speaking to God about God, give me strength. God, help me, anytime. Just help me just show up. Help me just give me your strength, just help me move through things and do the things that I want to execute the things that I want to and need to. And that's what I've been doing. So if you've been doing that as well, congrats to you. We are aligned. No, I'm playing. I mean, we are if you're watching this video. But yeah, if you've been pondering or thinking about, should I do this? Should I not? Just do it. The best way to overcome it is to do it. Past the past the emotion that you're feeling of not wanting to do it. When you don't feel like doing something, it's a sign for you to do it. Like I've heard before, when you don't feel like praying, the moments you don't feel like praying is probably the moments you should be praying, right? But anyways, so fear and control. Now, first I'm going to touch on control because I feel like that's something a lot of us navigating this experience, it is hard to surrender, right? I've had my moments where in my life I felt I focused on something and I put my mind into something and it has given me a sense of control. And I actually liked the control, I actually liked being able to calculate, being able to manage. Sometimes you even tap into your creator mode and you are like, I'm going to create this. This is an idea in my mind. I'm going to start posting this. I'm going to start, you just create, you are the executive, whatever, like you start to plan, execute the things that you want to do, right? And you can sort of calculate. But we also have to learn to surrender, right? Like sometimes we just want to have full control of everything that's going on around us. And I feel like that's when that can actually become more toxic and even lead you more to be ego driven about things. Sometimes we forget that there a higher power does exist, right? You are a human. Like I've said this before, you're an extension of God. I know you might have heard, especially in the spiritual community, you are God. Baby, I don't think the Most High would do certain things that I've done in my life. I'm going to be honest. I think the higher power has a much better intelligence than me. I have an extension, right? If I tap in, if I decide to, But you also have to choose to lean on the higher power. Like the higher power, God, right? It's not going to intervene if you don't want God to intervene in your life. There are moments where I felt so stressed and anxious about a lot of things. And, I've been ego driven. I've been ego driven and like rushing into things and overthinking things. And I know that God is probably looking at me like, girl, I only told you to take 2 steps today, 2 steps in spirit today, and you'll be good. You I just that's all. The rest I have it. I got it. And me wanting control and wanting to see things and wanting to no, I need to see because I'm a person, I don't know if y'all can relate to this. I'm a person that one of the things I've had to master is learning to overcome the fear of the unknown. I feel like God has sent me always into spaces where I don't know what's going to happen, or I'm like, this does not make sense to me. God, why would you put me in a place, in a situation like this? This is not, yeah, God, you're like, this does not make sense. Like, I've even talked to God like that. Why would you do that? Why would you know what I'm saying? Like, all upset and even mad. But God is always going to remind you that God knows better. God knows best. And sometimes we have to learn to fully surrender and just go with the flow of life. Because if you don't, right, if you don't learn to let go of control, if you don't learn to surrender, life is going to teach you that. That's going to be one of your life lessons if you don't do it. Anything you're still struggling with to do is turns into a life lesson for you, right? especially especially on this earth, right? I feel like there's only a few people who are being actually spirit led. When I say spirit led, I mean people who are actually moving or trying to move in truth, follow their intuition, follow the nudges of their spirit, right? Which the nudges of your spirit is actually very much aligned with God, right? At least that's what I've experienced in my life, right? My intuition, very connected to my intuition. So there are only a few people who actually are being more spirit led and not ego driven with the things that they do and how they operate in life. And I feel like in this world, in today's society, everything is more about control. Everything is more about what I can gain. Everything is more about materialistic stuff. Everything is more about I want to get, grab, grab, grab. Like, you know, instead of, it's rare to actually see people that have that mindset of, I want to be of service, you know, I want to help, I want to make an impact. And, I wouldn't be surprised if some people would be watching my channel and they're like, she's trying to be relevant. She's, you know, or any such comments like, oh, I can see, she's trying to get the phone up. She's trying to, like, I'm not trying to do nothing but stay in alignment with my spirit, stay in alignment with God, stay in alignment with my purpose, and stay in alignment with the things that I need to do. Stay in alignment with my soul's purpose and heal the things that I need to heal and break the things that I need to break and break the patterns that I need to break the best way that I can, right? Leaning on God, of course, but like that's my focus on. This is healing for me. But I've also had to learn to surrender, right? Because sometimes I do want to rush. I do want, like, damn, I'm putting in work in something. I want to see something. You want to notice things, right? It's like when you are going to the gym for like maybe 3 weeks. You're like, I want to see something. I want to see some gains. I want to see, I want to see how my clothes now. I'm going to put it on and it's going to fit. But it doesn't work that way. You have to put faith, right? Have faith that you are putting in the work and surrender. You have to learn to let go of control and having a healthy relationship when it comes to you having control. A lot of the times we're like, I'm gonna give it to God. Yeah, I'm gonna give it to God. And then I literally wrote down on my journal, literally after going to the gym, and I'm like, because while I was at the gym, some things were still ruminating in my head, right? And I got back home, and I literally took up my journal, and I'm like, I started to write things down, a list of things that I hadn't really yet surrendered to God, that I had a claim that I had surrendered, but I was looking at ways into ways of how I could do something about those things. And I was just lying to myself. And I was lying to myself, affecting myself, you know? The more you surrender to the flow, the more you surrender, right? The better life feels. The more at peace you feel. The more detached from things that you should not have that strong attachment to feels, right? So that's the aspect of control. Now, fear. I feel like a lot of us in this season are being called to move and take bigger steps forward despite of what's going on in our reality, despite of what we're seeing, despite of even our emotions, right? Despite of anything outside of us. We are being pushed to move forward despite of things that are outside of us, right? Fear is the lowest vibration you can be operating on. This world literally operates through fear. That is the emotion that is like fear in the unknown, fear in surrendering, fearing, you facing yourself, fearing, like it's all about fear. The news, you turn on the TV, social media, everything around you just wants you to operate in fear. And I've had to learn to even not let other people's fears, not let them project their own fears onto me, because I don't want to be operating in that. I want to be at peace. And I know God, I don't know how many times in the word it says, do not be afraid, do not be afraid, do not be afraid. Yet people still, you know, still want to operate on that fear based mentality. And it's actually suffocating. And also on a spiritual topic, the best way that I've noticed to level up in spirit, right, is to master your fears. Anytime you have a fear of something, I have a fear of, you know, doing this, doing that. It can be the smallest thing. As soon as you do it, you feel empowered. As soon as you do it, there's a shift. I had a tough conversation with a family member that I felt like God was pulling me to do, and it was on the topic of forgiveness. And I had so much fear. Like, I rather text them, but I was seeing them and I literally spoke to them in person. I moved through that fear, and that changed the whole like energy between us for the better. I'm just giving you an example, as like I said, it can be anything that unsettles you, anything that is like causes you to discomfort, anything that you're like, no, I don't. You do it, you feel empowered. And you being empowered and not operating on a low vibrational, energy, which is fear, is one of the main things society does not want you to be like. Society in situations while you're navigating, the 3D as they call it, or like the earthly realm, is to take your power away in any way they can. I don't know how many times I felt, I've been in a situation and I've overthought the worst case scenarios in that situation. Literally, the worst case scenarios. And then later on, I'm like, oh my God, I thought I wasn't gonna make it. Oh my God, I thought, yeah, you thought too much. You had no faith. Too much fear, honey. Like, no. And trust me, God does not want us to operate. God actually wants all of us empowered. God wants us to access that. God does not want to enslave us. And if someone is saying God, I don't know what kind of God you're talking about, but the God I know, especially in my situations, has always told me in my experiences, choose yourself. Do not give in to fear. Do not give your power away. keep going, all those things. You have to be fearless. Fearless in every way. Fearless in being even feeling weird, odd, unique. I literally posted a TikTok today of how some of us need to forgive ourselves for being different, feeling like the odd one out and being scared to being, not fitting into society. And now that I've been self reflecting and stuff like that, and I've had some time to myself, I'm like, dang, I cannot believe I let the fear of not fitting in, feeling like I cannot fit into society, into the world, make me feel bad about myself, make me feel about how I have been created, right? I know it's hard sometimes, but trust me, the more you face it, you're activating the God within you when you move through things through fear, even through fear, right? Do you think the world and society wants you to have a regulated nervous system, wants you to have inner peace, wants you to be connected with yourself and connected with God's energy? No. It wants you to be in panic mode. It wants you to be stressed. It wants you to be anxious. All those lower energies, right? And the ones that choose to consciously to not give into that, and the ones who consciously choose to not give into that are the ones that are called rebels, are the ones that are called, oh yeah, they're careful with those. Be careful with them. They're weird. They're no, don't listen to those people. The world is really upside down, y'all. But you have to that's why I like to talk about things that actually matter, because these are the things that are actually important to talk about, that are actually more impactful to speak on. So, with all that being said, I want you to grab a journal, right? And make a list of things that you are still claiming you have surrendered, but you've yet not surrendered to God. You've yet have a hold, a grip. It can be a person. It can be someone. It can be anything. It can be even your past. What is something that you have not let go and not surrendered? And with fear, I want you to do something that it has been in your mind to do, but you feel nervous, you feel uncomfortable to do, you know, and you move past it and you act on it. But anyways, hope you guys liked this video. Hope you guys took something. Hope it made something click within you in some way. You realized something resonated with you, helped you, impacted you in some way. Like, come subscribe, follow me on my other social media accounts, and I'll see you guys on my next video.